Hello and welcome to this episode of the Surfing Podcast. My name is Dan Bialik. I am your host. While you're here listening, either on your phone or a computer or a tablet, maybe through your Nintendo Wii, I don't know. While you have an electronic device near your hands, go to our website, thesurfingpodcast.com, and sign up to win our giveaway for the Surf Ears Surf Plugs. We're giving away 3 pairs of Surf Ears surfing earplugs this month, and they're awesome. They're earplugs for surfing, much like any other earplug, except that they're 100% watertight and you can hear through them normally while you surf in them. They have a special membrane that is developed. The inventor of them is a surfer from, I believe, Sweden. We just had on the show a couple episodes back, or last episode. And he used to work for Nokia, the phone company, mobile phone company. And he came up with the same kind of technology they use in the memories on the phone to use on earplugs for surfing. And they're awesome. But they're also kind of expensive. They're anywhere from $50 to $100 on Amazon right now and in surf shops all over the globe. But right now you can sign up to win one of 3 pairs. Just go to thesurfingpodcast.com. There's a link at the top of the page, and there's also links for how to enter. All you have to do to enter, like our Facebook page, that's step 1, and then sign up for our email list. That's step 2. There's links to do both right in the front of the page. Also on our Facebook page, there's constant links for that. We'll be selecting 3 winners and announcing them on June 5th. So via Facebook, and then we'll be contacting you via the email address you signed up for on our email list. With that business out of the way, let's get to the show this week. Last week, we discussed the invasion of the mighty great white shark in the Southern California / Orange County areas of the Pacific Ocean. And this week, the shark hysteria continues. This past Sunday, the Orange County, I believe it was the Orange County Sheriff's, let me find the article real quick, reported spotting over 24 juvenile great whites off the beach of San Clemente and Capistrano Beach or Capo Beach on Sunday, that's a lot. That's kind of 24 sharks, and they were all within the 6 to 10 foot range. And there's articles all over on any surf, whatever surf website you go to, whether it's Surfline or Stab or probably Magic Seaweed. I'm sure Surfer did a couple articles on it, at least one. But the funny thing is, the articles are all basically the same article saying this happened here, this many sharks was here, a couple quotes, and then it moves on with its life. Gives you a couple links, talks about the woman who was attached to churches a few weeks back. But then do yourself a treat. And I mentioned this last episode, but do yourself a treat. If you're feeling down in the dumps, like, hey, I'm having a bad day, or I don't feel good about myself, or I'm not as smart as I wish I could be, just go to the comments section on any site, on Surfline, on Stab, whichever article you can find, and most of them do have the comments enabled. Read the comments on the Surfline article about the Sunday spotting. There's at least 60 or 70 of them. The last one before that was over 100, 150. And it's last episode we talked about this, how I feel like, you're in the ocean, there's sharks there. Maybe thinning them or something might be a thing to do, but there's two schools of thought I come across with from other surfers out in the water. One is the, oh my God, we have to kill all the seals because there's too many seals, they're making the sharks fat argument, which is kind of insane, because then you got to kill what the seals eat, and then what the seals eat, and then we got to kill people, because they can be eaten by the sharks. That's stupid. And then you get the other people like, hey man, you can't kill any sharks, man. They're like nature, you're in their environment, bro. They're sharks, man. You got to respect their power. Like, both sides of those are stupid. There's too many sharks. Yeah, maybe fish a few of them out, or let's come up with some type of electronic device that can kind of like make them go the fuck away from where people swim. But I don't know. My point is, the comments on any online forum are not the voice of reason. They're like the far right or far left, like polar opposite of each other, of people just going crazy and fighting, and then cussing at each other, then like making fun of each other's name or avatar, and then there's always some homophobic stuff thrown in there, and then one guy's calling another guy a kook, and then if it's on something like Facebook where you can see a picture of the guy, then they're making fun of how funny the other guy looks, and then heaven forbid one of the idiots has a picture of him surfing as his avatar on his page, then the guy will find a picture of the other guy surfing and then comment on how bad his style is, or how bad he surfs, or what a kook he is, and then the other guy will call that guy's chick or girlfriend or wife fat or ugly, and it just goes crazy. You're going to see the word sheeple for sure. Wake up, sheeple. Like, that's always great. You're going to get a guy that's going to talk about skydiving. You're going to get at least a dozen people that bring up Reunion Island. You're going to get many spelling of the word dude, from, D-U-D-E to D-O-O-D to like dud. It's amazing. Like I said, if you're having a bad day, and you feel like you might not be the greatest guy in the world, or girl or person, you feel like a big dum-dum, listen, you're going to feel like a Rhodes Scholar with just that 2 years of junior college education under your belt, because these people are terrible. And some make valid points, but they get drowned out so quickly by the wing nuts on both sides. Again, just treat yourself, head over there, and be safe in the water. I don't know. There's much you can do, but maybe don't surf, right at dark or right at sunrise by yourself, covered in lamb chops or pig's blood or whatever you're doing. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like it's a lottery. You try and do your best, and not to get bit. But if you get bit, that sucks. But it happens. And I don't, again, like last episode, I don't want to jinx myself. I don't want to get bitten or eaten by a shark. But I'm just saying. I think it's funny because we have a lot of listeners in Australia, and Australia has much larger and more aggressive sharks than anywhere in the world. Well, maybe South Africa, but I'm sure the people in Australia that see these articles in their timeline and their feed just laugh their balls off. They're just like, dude, what are you talking about? And I'm sure the people in Reunion Island are like, wait, there's baby sharks swimming by where you're at, and it's upsetting you. These bull sharks are coming up and eating children like every other week. Come on, get it together. So that's again my 2 cents. From last week's 2 cents, which makes 4 cents on the shark. But yeah, if you want to feel better and forget all about the sharks, just read the comments. You'll be like, wow, majority of people that surf maybe are garbage and should be eaten by sharks, and you won't feel so bad. I don't know where you're living or where you're at, but it is middle of May here in Southern California, and that means crappy waves. It means south swells that aren't exactly full-blown large south swells, and west swells that are mostly diminishing and are wind swell. And it means California, the Catalina Eddy, which means like south winds in the morning and onshore flow almost all day. Not even glassy at sunrise. In fact, some days this time of year in Southern California, you could surf at 7 a.m. and it'll be choppier than it is at 3 p.m. sometimes, because sometimes that south wind will shift. You get a nice window between like 1 or 2 when the wind shifts from south to like west. You get like a window of like an hour and a half where it kind of almost glasses off, and sometimes it glasses off completely when the south dies out. But it's bumpy and it sucks. And I surf a lot of afternoons. So I work in the mornings and I try and finish up what I'm doing to surf before I pick my son up from school, or I surf the evening. So I surf a lot of bumpy, junky, way too low tide or way too high tide days. And I try and lie to myself and say, hey, it's not crowded out here. It's great. I'm surfing by myself. I don't want to surf in the mornings. It's too crowded anyway. I surfed the other morning when it was glassy. And I got to tell you, surfing glassy, crowded 2-foot waves or even 3-foot waves is a lot more fun than surfing choppy, uncrowded 3.5-foot waves. I lie to myself. I tell myself it isn't, but it is fun to go fast and to link up multiple, mediocre at best turns as I do, but it feels good. So I get torn, and this time of year really bums me out because there's no good time to surf, and having responsibilities as an adult, working and having a family and a child. I don't get to surf whenever I want. It just breaks my little heart. But I surfed the pier in Huntington. I surfed it this weekend, and they were practicing a paddle out. I don't know. I didn't even look up the information. I'm sure when it gets closer, they'll announce it. But they were doing a practice paddle out for, they're going to try and set another Guinness Book of World Records here. I know they did it in San Diego, and then I think maybe somewhere in Brazil or whatever. They're trying to get the most people to stand up on a wave at once or something like. I think that's the record they're going for. Last year it was the biggest surfboard in the world, and they made this giant surfboard that they ended up like bolting to the side of the Huntington Beach Surfing Museum in downtown that you can still see today. And they did. I think that was a world record. But they're trying to get I think it's the most people. But they had what they had on Saturday morning. Saturday or Sunday morning, who knows? Who remembers which day it was exactly? But they had a practice paddle out, and I came out at the tail end of it. I came out around 9, and they must have had it like at 8 or something like that. Where they had it's going to be 500 people, and they were going to all meet up and practice, but only like 100 showed up. So they had like these like pool noodles, like those like long foam tubes that kids play with in the pool. They had like dozens of those, and they had them linked up in a circle to show how many people were going to be in this area. But then it looked like a weird paddle out, like somebody, some surfer drowned or died or got eaten by a shark, and it was like a paddle out that like the guy wanted pool noodles at or something. So they were out there flopping around, and one guy had like an inflatable killer whale, which is just fucking annoying. And some people were like on weird surf craft, and I don't know. They were just getting in the way, and it was annoying. But they're apparently Huntington Beach is trying to break the most people on a wave record, which to me is hilarious because it's May rolling into June and the water's getting warmer. That just happens on its own. It's just the last couple weeks have just been, I don't know where you live, but summertime is slowly creeping upon us in Southern California, and it's just getting more and more crowded. And it's a problem because I don't know. It was back in the day, a million years ago, like in the 90s or 2000s, it was like the fun board. Fun boards were annoying because they were like short board, long boards, like they weren't like a 9-foot board. They were like maybe a guy would get like a 6'8" or a 6'10" or a 7'0", but it'd be like rounded nose, it's not a fish. It's like bigger than a fish. So the guy could catch a ton of waves and not necessarily have to surf, but it's like makes them easy to get back out in the lineup, and they're in the way, and then they think they have priority, and maybe they do, but you can't just paddle back out every time and take 100 waves on your crap board just because you can, and you're going straight anyway. So why do you need so many waves? Just ride the whitewash. It's the same thing. You can go just as straight on whitewash as you can on a set wave, you scumbag. Anyway, then there was those tough light boards came out, so kooks could get like ding proof, like, Channel Islands, I guess, or rusty, I guess, but it was that weird tough light material. Then it was the Wavestorm. If it was 5 or 6 years ago, the Wavestorm came on strong, and people were buying them. Like those kids in San Clemente were buying them and making cool edits on like Surfline and getting barreled and then breaking them and taking them to like Costco to get a new one. Then Jamie O'Brien and all the Maui guys are surfing Jaws on them, and then Jamie O'Brien and his friends are surfing like, pipeline and backdoor, doing board transfers, and then surfing like those boards, and like those catch it surfboards came along, and then they're riding those in the shore break at Keiki and having like a kill yourself at Keiki contest, which is all fine and good, and it's fun to watch on the internet, and if you're a talented and a coordinated enough person to like pull that off and not get killed, God bless you. I mean, all the gods, the old and the new, Buddha, whatever God you believe, whoever watches you, whatever invisible being watches you from space while you masturbate, may that being / God bless you with all its hearts. But at the same time, those fun boards, and then the Wavestorm, and then the catch surf, not so much because they're hard to catch waves on, but the Wavestorm, it just opened the floodgates for people to be able to surf. Because you used to have Doyles, but Doyles were like Wavestorms back in the 90s, but they were like more expensive, and they got really heavy and waterlogged really quick. The new Wavestorms, like, they don't get waterlogged. You can have them. Full disclosure, by the way, I have a Wavestorm. I have it in my garage. Sometimes in the summer, I'll break it out if it's really shitty, and I'll usually surf. I won't surf the pier here in Huntington. I'll surf it somewhere shittier, like I'll surf up the beach at like 9th Street or 17th, or take it to Golden West with my wife and fuck around. And if I do surf the pier or like a popular or populated surf spot, I always, when I paddle out, when I see guys I know or I see strangers, they look like they can surf, I say, listen, this is a fucking pool toy. This is not a real surfboard that I'm on. I'm just out here fucking around. I wanted to get bored. I wanted to get out and surf today, but the waves are so bad, and I'm old. But I'm not. This is not my regular surfboard. I am not technically surfing right now. I am quote unquote fucking around. So if a wave comes and you see me paddle for it, you can snake me. You can paddle in front of me. You can kick water at my face. You can burn me. You can spray me. I'm not trying to compete with you in waves in any type of situation. Please don't let me take any waves from you. The waves are shitty, and God bless you for riding a shortboard today. You are more of a man and a surfer than I am. I do. I have this whole speech. I roll it out in like a scroll. It's like 15 minutes. It eats up a lot of the session. We both end up getting cold and going in, but at the same time, I think it's important to put that out there. Not true, but I think you get the gist of what I mean, though. I do. If I ride in a Wavestorm, it's just for fun and fucking around. And Wavestorms are great because you can surf on crappy days and get a ton of waves without bothering anyone, because you can catch all the shitty waves that no one else can catch that don't break till the inside, like the ones that kind of peak up outside but then like back off. You can catch those. You can also take off on complete shit closeouts that nobody wants to go on, and then just try and ride them to the beach for length of ride, like the 80s, and you're in an ASP contest, or try and like connect the shore break or whatever. But again, if a Grom snakes me on the inside in the shore break because he wants to get like the reform, I'm fine with that because I'm on a fucking Wavestorm. But that being said, that's where I'm coming from. That's where I think the right, way to be is when you're wave storming or riding a fuck around board. But in the last few years, and it's a multi-pronged thing here. Last few years, there's been a proliferation of regular surfers riding wave storms, and that's fine. And sometimes you'll see like Groms out there that surf good that ride the wave storm. They're being a dick and getting a lot of waves. I'm like, that fucking Grom. But I'd probably do that too because kids are assholes, and that's how it is. But it's the people that like 20s, 30s, 40s that are taking like surf classes. Like the surf schools have like blown up all over Southern California. They're in Northern California. I know Santa Cruz, a bunch of ex-pros run them. Down here, a bunch of ex-pros and surf industry guys run them. And they learn on a Wavestorm. And then my problem is they rent the Wavestorm to them or give them to them in the class, and they paddle them out right in the north and south side of the pier, which is like one of the better surf spots, which is a terrible surf spot here in Orange County, but it's one of the better and more consistent surf spots because we have terrible waves here all the time in Orange County. And they're at the Huntington Pier, and they learn to surf there. And then after the week or two of their lessons, they're just like, well, I fucking took 2 lessons. I guess I surf the Huntington Pier now. I'm a local. And they go with their $100 to Costco and get their own shitty Wavestorm. And then they're out like in the lineup. And it's like, that's not how lineups work. again, I am a mediocre surfer at best. I'm not good by any stretch. I don't consider myself like a heavy local anywhere, not even Bolsa Chica State Beach, which is a joke because it's one of the worst beaches to surf at and it's never crowded. But nobody's surfing there right now because it's totally scary to surf by yourself under all these sharks. Even guys I know that are like hardcore dicks are like, no, I'm not surfing Bolsa right now. Fuck that shit, man. The fucking sharks. But these guys paddle out and they take their lesson at the pier and they think that the pier is their spot. And I grew up in Huntington. I learned to surf when I was a little kid, and I lived on the north side of town. I lived towards Golden West Street. So I surfed Golden West Street, and I rode my bike down with my friends after school from fifth grade, and mostly we learned it from fifth. Started surfing on a surfboard, and then 6th, 7th, 8th, we would drive down or ride our bikes down to fucking Golden West and surf the shitty waves of Golden West or get a ride to Bolsa Chica. We were not fucking first 2 or 3 years surfing, posting up on north or south side of the pier, like sitting at the peak, getting in the way or trying to call guys off. That's just not how it went. And my other friends that live in the side of town would surf like Brookhurst Street or Magnolia or the Brookhurst River, the river jetties at Newport, because it's a less crowded, less, competitive wave where you can fuck around and learn how to duck dive and bail your board if you get scared, not hit anybody, and take off and kook it and blow set waves and whatever. And it's low stakes, but you get your chops. You get how to sit on a surfboard, how to paddle out, how to negotiate waves, how to do a late drop, how to clear a section, because the waves are shittier too. So it's like Florida. You have to try harder. So you have to get better. So when you do go surf somewhere good, you feel like you go from Golden West or Bolsa Chica to surfing like the pier on a decent day. You're like, holy shit, this is like lowers. And then you go to lowers, you're like, holy shit, this is amazing. I'm the best surfer in the world. And you see the video, you're like, oh my God, I wave my arms around like that. I suck. But anyway, that's with summertime. I feel like the Wavestorms now are just like, it's out of control. There's just guys that like paddle out, and like a 25-year-old dude paddles out and posts up on a fucking like $100 Wavestorm and like a $175 Quicksilver wetsuit and thinks he's just like the fucking he's lived here. So he's from here and lives here and he rules it. And I have a real problem. He goes, I'm a fucking local dude. I fucking live here. It's like, yeah, I don't believe in property or living somewhere like making you have the ultimate, like just because you live somewhere or born somewhere makes you a local instantly and you're fucking allowed to yell at people and be a dickhead because of real estate. I kind of feel like if you're a local somewhere, it means like, there's locals from here, like Huntington, that didn't grow up here, that like grew up in like Garden Grove or like a couple towns inland or whatever, that surf the pier and are pro surfers or work in the surf industry or just rip, but they're not like from here. But I consider them more local than than guys that have lived there their whole life that surf twice a year that are kooks. And that's the thing. I feel like being a local means you put in your time there, you surf there when it's good, when it's bad, when it's shitty. You kind of participate in the area that you're surfing in. You get to know some people. You don't have to be the best friend of everyone and chit chat everyone's goddamn head off, but you're there. Guys, maybe you don't know their name, their first name, not their last. You give them, by a head nod, but you kind of like work your way into a crowd anywhere and kind of, but even if you have that, you shouldn't be a dick and just chase people out of the water. I think that's fucking retarded too. But the other side of that is like I don't think localism is cool, but I don't think just paddling out and being a total dickhead is cool either. And the problem with the people that like paddle out, they're total dickheads, is they don't even know any better. Like I had a guy take off in front of me on a Wavestorm and burn me, and then I had to like kick out, and then he fell, and then paddling back out, I paddled around a section or something. He paddled like over it or bailed his board, hit another guy. Then he came out, took off in front of me again and fell. Then I had to like jump off, and then his board hit me. And I was like, what? I came up, I'm like, what the fuck? What the fuck? And he's like, wait, what happened? Was I do something wrong? And I was like, I don't know. Maybe he's the world's best actor, like the Laurence Olivier of fucking kooks or whatever. But like, I just looked in his face like he really didn't know what was going on. And I'm like, I didn't know what to do with that. But like, call him a motherfucker and like try and drown him and like, yell at him and fight him like a grown man fighting another man in a rubber suit, which kind of sounds like the fucking creepiest thing in the world. What I have done on one occasion is this is kind of a dick move, and I don't hope the person doesn't drown. It's usually in like waist deep water, but I've had a guy away from him do that, but he's like flailing around and I'll see his leg and he'll have a really shitty leash that's on the outside of his wetsuit and the big flap on it, like half done. I pulled a guy's leash off and pushed his board in and watched it roll into the fucking shore break. I looked and there's no children. There's like, some guy in the morning when the people aren't at the beach yet, but like his board goes in and he has to swim in and get it. And I did it in like, again, like chest deep water at most. So this ended on like a 2 foot day. This guy's it's not like it's 6 foot and he's at the end of the pier and he's going to fucking drown. And I feel like a real asshole, but I don't know. It's just, that's the big conundrum for the summer is like, what responsibility do people that don't surf at all, that start surfing or like casual, like, novelty or novice surfers have versus people that enjoy and aren't pros but enjoy doing it every day and don't consider themselves like hard mean core locals or think localism is kind of stupid, but at the same time it's a hard thing to deal with. And I kind of feel that same way and it's kind of segueing into like the call to action that I'm going to bring up on this show is I kind of feel the same way about those Hayden shape boards. I always have, I always will. Here's my problem. The Hayden shape, whatever the fuck board that everybody had because Craig Anderson had one and ripped on it, is this. It's like those short stubby boards with the wide nose, they catch a ton of waves, and like horizontally, like going laterally on a wave, they fly. You can make sections, you can do like turns and floaters, but as far as like breaking your line and doing like a vertical off the lip or a full roundhouse or whatever, guys that rip or surf good can surf good on those boards or any board. It's like the Dane Reynolds dumpster diver. Like Dane Reynolds could rip on the dumpster diver because he could rip on there's one of like a Dane Reynolds clip on Marine Layer Productions website one time that had him. He made like a hand shaped like fiberglass boogie board like twin fin, and then does like an air reverse on it, and you're like in like 2 foot choppy shore break or whatever. You're like, that's the point when you look at it and you go, oh, I can never do that. That's amazing. But the whole thing with the Hayden shapes boards, like I feel like they're easy to surf. They're like entry level boards that guys are like that are mid level and above ride, and because they're easy and that sounds fun, but then they don't progress in their surfing, and then they think that they're ripping. And if they watch the footage, they're not ripping. And I know that probably makes me sound like, oh, you're an idiot, dude. This board's rule, whatever. But yes, some of them do rule. But my point is like Craig Anderson used to ride regular shortboards before he rode those, and he ripped just as hard and was just doing as many like mental backside 6 foot out of the water airs and getting tubed and getting knock-kneed barrels and all that shit before. It's just he chose to ride that board, and it works good for him and he enjoys it. But it makes me annoyed that like it has annoyed me the last few years that like so many guys that like ride those boards because I feel like it's a crutch for them to get more waves. And then on the other side of that coin, surfing is a fun recreational goddamn thing that 99.9% of us do for fun. There's no like, none of us are like getting a check or sponsored or doing it to cure cancer. So why can't those guys ride those fucking boards and have fun? It's kind of it's kind of a double-edged sword there, not wanting to be an asshole, but then being inherently a selfish asshole yourself. Which is frustrating. So I don't know. I'm going to have there'll be some posts on the site this week. Again, remember to go to our website, thesurfingpodcast.com, and sign up for the giveaway. But we've been doing more like some blog posts on our website as well. And I'll have one about what you think about priority. Cause that's the other thing I'm struggling with lately is I feel like, I don't know about you as a surfer, but I feel like priority is pretty simple. It's like whoever's sitting, furthest out closest to the peak, wave comes in, the guy at the top of the peak goes right, it's a right, he gets to go right. Or if he splits it or whatever and then negotiates. The thing I have a problem with now lately is people that sit like, and little kids do it, and I don't mind little kids because little kids are just doing their life, but like a 20 or 30-year-old guy will sit like 20 feet inside of the pack of where everybody's sitting, not because he's like clever and trying to get more waves, just because he's an idiot, doesn't know where to sit. And then a wave will come in and you'll be on the peak and you'll like be paddling for it, and he'll do this thing where like you're paddling, you're standing up, he's 20 feet inside of you, 30 feet, 20 feet inside of you. As you're standing up, the wave actually reaches him and suddenly he becomes deeper, closer to the peak sort of than you are, but you're already standing up and bottom turning, and he'll try and call you off. Like back paddling people basically is what I think most people describe it as. And it's fucking retarded. And I think the more lower level and more novice level surfers are, the more they try and do that shit. And I don't really have a lot of problems with anything. I don't mind if I get dropped in on and a guy doesn't do it on purpose, or if a guy does it on purpose and does like 3 air reverses, not much I can say. I'm like, oh, fuck, you're really good. Or if a guy drops in on purpose, as long as they don't hit me with their board and they kind of like say sorry or pretend that they're sorry, I'm cool with that. But dude, motherfuckers that back paddle me and like try and call me off waves, there is no better way to have a grown, fat, stupid, out of shape person that looks just like me scream in your face and call you motherfucker in the ocean than doing that. Because I think it's disrespectful, it's just skeevy, it's just connivey, it's just a weaselly fucking move to do. And it's like you're sitting on the inside, and those guys that do that are the same guys that when a set wave comes in, like say it's like a 4 or 5 foot day, and like a 6 foot or a little bit bigger set comes in, those are the motherfuckers that are always in the way because they're sitting further in and don't know where to paddle, like towards the peak, like under, like behind where the guy's taking off, or paddle beforehand enough to be out far enough not to get caught inside or be out of the fucking way. Those are the same guys that are in the way for you or whoever it is that's catching like the wave of the fucking day, and also decide to like bail their board mid-face when they could have ducked through the wave very easily. But those are my pet peeves. So I think I'll put a couple blog posts up and put them on our Facebook page and on our site about like priority and what you guys think about that, because I would love to hear your thoughts. And then this week the show is just me talking because we had like 3 guests lined up for Skype, and 2 out of 3 flaked out at the last minute, and 1 I couldn't get back in touch with. So we'll have a guest next episode, guys. But yeah, those are a couple things with summer coming up that I was thinking about. As priority, back paddling, what kind of boards everyone's going to ride this summer. And I just ordered, and again, full disclosure, I'm just complaining about Hayden Shapes boards, which are great boards, and they're no better or worse than any other surfboard. Maybe they're better, probably better. The guy that shapes them seems like a cool guy, and his team riders are cool. But I just feel like those boards are kind of like cheating when you could actually ride a board that was a little bit less boaty and floaty and a little bit harder to ride, but you could surf at a little bit higher level with a little more effort. That being said, I just ordered a little bit shorter, wider board for the summer because I've just been surfing, like I said at the beginning of the show, choppy, blown out, shitty, gutless afternoons. And I just ride regular contemporary short boards, like my height, and then like dimensions that are pretty like regular boards that people better than me ride, maybe an extra liter or two because I'm sad, but I don't ride like thick fun boards or anything yet. I haven't given up the Ghost that much yet, but I did order a board that's like a couple inches shorter and quarter to quarter and a half inches wider than my regular board for summer. But I don't know, I feel like that's weird. A weird thing. And there's guys that rip on like really small boards. My friend Marty, the guy that runs the boardroom at Jack's, this guy Marty is he's like 6 foot, probably 3 or 4, a real skinny guy, but he rides those stretch boards. Or like he rides his regular short board on a 2 foot or 10 foot day is like a 5'4", and he surfs great on it. I mean, I saw him this weekend. He cleared like a 20 foot. Started a floater, and the section in front of the section that he was floating started to close out. He cleared like a 20 foot like double section on like crappy, junky like 2 foot north side, 3 foot north side on the other morning. I was like, man, those boards work so goddamn good. So I'm not shitting on shorter boards. I'm just shitting on people that ride boards that let them be lazy. But then again, maybe I'm not, because it's kind of dumb to be mad at people for wanting to be lazy, because we're all just doing a recreational activity. Earlier this week, transitioning to the last two things. Yeah, I mentioned we're using the Facebook page more and our social media more, like our Facebook page, Instagram page more. And the links to those are on our web. The front of the top of our website has a link to both of those, and Twitter too. By the way, surfers don't use Twitter. It's hilarious. It's funny to see like all the pros and companies be on like Facebook and Instagram and get tons of likes and comments and engagement. And you go on Twitter and it's just a tumbleweed flying across, because not to be a dick, but I don't think a lot of surfers like making with the type wordy word stuff. They're more into pictures and videos. So not a ton of activity on Twitter. And Twitter also exposes the shortcomings of some of our heroes, and even the companies that our heroes ride for, is spelling and grammar weaknesses. So maybe that's why they stay off of it. But we've been doing Instagram stuff, and we've been posting like meme pictures. And one thing we posted this week was a thing I thought was an interesting question to ask, and it was, what do you think about when you're going down the line on a wave? Because I've asked this before, like, you sit out in the water and you think about goofy stuff, like, what's this, what's that? And I asked everyone ever asked, I get the same question, I get the same answer, and most of the time it is, I'm just thinking hit the lip, because I live somewhere where it's crappy beach break, and you're never taking off thinking about getting barreled, because that just does not happen. It happens once every 3 to 3.5 years when you get to go on a boat trip or go to Nicaragua or some shit like that. But most of the time you're just thinking hit the lip. And then the other most common answer is, I think, they're thinking nothing. It's the only, like, one guy on our Instagram or Facebook was great. He's all, I think of absolutely nothing. And this other guy was like, it's the one time my brain stops and I just do what happens, which I thought was hilarious. And then a lot of other people answered, like on our Instagram page, people answered like they're sick of, don't fucking bog this turn was one answer, which I thought was hilarious. Some people said lyrics. One guy said, don't run anyone over. Another guy said, so sick of looking at man ass, which I think is probably surfs more crowded and shitty like I do. And then another guy said he wonders if his hair looks good. So that was the first thing we posted this past week, that because we're kind of like just silly questions that we could talk about with people that listen to the show about surfing stuff. And then this morning we posted one, a little bit better question. I thought it was like, what was the lamest excuse you've ever heard or had someone give you after they snaked you on a wave or dropped in on you? And those answers were phenomenal. People are terrible. It's kind of like reading the comment section on the shark articles. If you think that you suck, other people suck way harder. Some of the answers from Instagram were, some guy told a person, sorry bro, it's my birthday. Another person told them, it was my last wave of the day, and then paddled right back to the lineup. A woman named Max and Lisa got told, you're smoking hot. So a guy tried to like burn her on a wave and then tried to bone her, which not cool, guys. A couple people said, didn't think you'd make it. One guy said, move, I'm local. One guy heard, I've shit myself, so I need to go in, which that's a bold move, my friend. That is a bold move. And then one guy heard I thought you were going the other way from a dude in a soft top. But there's a bunch of funny answers to the post on our Instagram page as well as on our Facebook page. So check those out if you get a chance. And we'll be posting those every couple of days. And we'll talk about the answers on future episodes. And maybe we'll ask upcoming guests. We'll have like a running theme of like burning questions that we post on our social media, and then we'll post them on, we'll ask guests on the show. Again, like next episode we will have a guest of some sort. I just this week ran away from me, and like I said, I had a couple flakeouts, and one person I couldn't get back in touch with in time, so we had to put up an episode, and this is the episode mostly about crowds in summer, because that's what's on my mind. But if you're in Australia, I think your summer just ended, so I guess all the terrible Barney people go away. Then you can surf by yourself with the bronze whalers or whatever you have. But yeah, that's it. You got any comments or questions, hit us up on Facebook or our comment section, or send us an email on the page. And if you have anybody that you'd like to hear as a guest or think we should have on, or if you're someone that you think would be a good guest for the show, please be sure to contact us. We'd love to hear from you and or speak to you on the show. Again, in closing, please go on our website, and not please, but for you and for your benefit, please go on our website, thesurfingpodcast.com, and sign up for our giveaway for the Surf Ears earplugs. They are really super awesome. You can actually hear through them while you're wearing them, which is a big change from the other cheaper, crappier earplugs out there that we all wear. And we're giving away 3 pairs, and we'll announce the winners on June 5th on Facebook, and then contact the winners via email. All you have to do to enter is go to our website, and there's a link to like our Facebook page and sign up for our email address. So 1, like our Facebook page. 2, sign up for our email list. Sign up for our email list. And then you'll be entered, and then you can win. It'll be awesome. We send out like, an email to our list, like usually when we have a new episode or when something really good is going on, like a giveaway, and that's it. We're not going to spam you. We're not going to sell your email. We're not going to send you naked pictures of our pets or anything weird like that. So do it. And again, as always, please be sure to sign up and subscribe to us. A lot of asks at the end of the show. Any podcast is like that. Like any always like, do this and do this. Well, do the thing to win the stuff. And then while you're there on our website, sign up to and subscribe to us on iTunes and leave us a review on iTunes. It helps us get discovered by other people. And of course, if you like the show, please feel free, if not compelled, to tell your friends about the show and forward them the link, or tweet them the thing, or whatever people do with their digital thing. I don't hold up the screen on your phone and shove it in their face and go, look at this. You look at it with your ears. Listen to it. As always, I've been Dan Bollock for the Surfing Podcast. Thank you so much for listening. We will talk to you next time.